A Honesuki versus a Deba versus a chicken. That's right, today in our head-to-head we are putting a Honesuki, which is a chicken butchery focused knife, against a Deba, which is a fish butchery focused knife. And you might be asking yourself the question why. And that is a question I too asked myself many years ago. But here's the thing, many people kept telling me, Frankie, we know you keep saying that chicken butchery is one of your favorite things to do of all time. You really should try it with a Deba. So that's what I'm here to do today, to try it out with a Deba. Now there are some big differences between these two knives. First of all, in terms of length, they're pretty much the same, running at 165 millimeters on the Deba, and this one, the Honesuki, is roughly 160, but really close to 165. Another big difference is going to be with the spine thickness and bevel, with the Saji Deba having a much larger spine. Why? Because unlike the Honesuki, this one is recommended to push through bones if you're doing it with good skill. And what that essentially means is when I'm removing the head off a fish, I'm going to be using essentially, say, I don't know, the last 20% of the heel. I'm going to put my closed fist on top of the spine and I'll push straight down, not chop, just push straight down. That's typically how I sever the head off the fish. Whereas with a Honesuki, though it does have a thicker spine than most knives that you might have in your kitchen, like a classic pedi or a Gyuto or a Santoku, it isn't recommended to necessarily go through bone, right? So you want to artistically and with technique go between bone, through cartilage. But the Deba, that's the big difference. That's also why it has a beefier spine. And so my question was, well, clearly there's also some big differences here in geometry, right? Where the Honesuki is basically like a right angle triangle. It has the super pronounced tip that you can use to kind of do some more precision work. The Deba lacks that. All that aside, I figured it was finally time to figure out if a Deba can do as good of a job as a Honesuki. I say, let's go find out. I initially started with a Honesuki because that's the knife that I'm most comfortable with, and I only do chicken butchery about every 3 months, so I figured if I'm going to be a bit rusty, but also have a knife that I'm more comfortable with in hand, it's going to be this one. And then I used the Deba on chicken number 2. And then there's also, spoiler alert, a chicken number 3 that I use something also different, but you'll see that in a later video. Aside from that, when it comes to chicken butchery, I know the anatomy of the chicken pretty well, and what I was mainly concerned is in order to say that this is better or not, how does it feel in hand? What's the ease of doing chicken butchery with a Deba compared to a Honesuki? Is there a clear advantage? Now, if you like the type of content I put out, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. Leave a like and comment below what you think of this video. And so, what do you say? Without further ado, we go check out the footage. Boom, that's how you do it. That's better. All right, so now to break down what you saw. See what I did there? Break down what I saw. Chicken butchery, breaking down things, break down what you saw. All right, enough. So essentially, the Honesuki performed as it always does. It's a pleasure, right? Also in terms of weight, I didn't mention that initially, but the Honesuki is quite a bit lighter. And it just feels nimble. This one feels like an extension of my hand, whereas the Saji Deba is heavy. I can feel that it's there, but that's one of the reasons I absolutely loved using it. And I'm surprised I'm saying that because I'll be honest, I did not think this was going to be a great performer. And in fact, funny story about this Saji Deba is when I moved to Edmonton, this was one of the first knives that I got in a new city, and I just don't use it enough for fish butchery because we're in Edmonton, right? This is not a coastal city. There's not a whole lot of access to quality fresh fish. There is one place, Effing Seafoods. Point is, if I butchered 3 chickens every 3 months, the use of a Deba in my life was even less than that. And so I almost thought about selling it. And now, after seeing what you just saw and experiencing what I just experienced, this has new meaning in my arsenal. The weight was super beneficial when going through cartilage. It made for quicker cuts. Not that a Honesuki is slow, but it made for quicker cuts. It made for more ease when going between joints. The one thing I will say in terms of limitations, when you are correctly between the joints, this will almost outshine this. However, because a Deba is also a precision tool, that's also why it's single bevel. Single bevel tools tend to be more precision focused tools than double bevel knives. But because this is a precision tool, the only place I really struggled with this is if my incision was incorrect, the Deba let me know. If I was a few millimeters to the left of the cartilage, i.e. right on the bone, well, this is not going to then slide in between the cartilage, it would just bite right into the bone. So for someone who's super skilled, and even someone like myself, I might not consider myself super skilled, but I'm definitely more than just a beginner when it comes to chicken butchery, I still really like the Deba. I hate to say it, this is one of my favorite knife shapes of all time. I love the geometry of a Honesuki, but the Deba, now when I do chicken butchery for fun, I actually kind of just go between the two. It reminds me of the limitations of both, but mainly because I absolutely love this knife. It's got a great custom handle, and now it's just proven to me that it's also a super capable chicken butchery knife, not just fish butchery. I don't know if there's a winner. I think this is more a question of personal choice. This isn't going anywhere, but this, yeah, that's how I feel. I wanted all those people that told me I should try it to be wrong. Not because I want to tell them that they're wrong, because I thought this will be too heavy of a blade. It's got a different geometry. Actually, that does remind me. I said it's a precision tool, right? And I also said how that could fail you. But the one place where it really lacks, speaking of precision, is going to be that K-tip. I found it easier to make small pre-incisions to kind of work my way around the chicken with the K-tip of the Honesuki as opposed to the Deba. Therefore, as you can see, as I've kind of just shared my thoughts, thinking back on how I used it, there's pros and cons to both of them. I don't think there's a clear winner. I mean, probably still this one, but this one was fun to use. And not that this one isn't fun to use, and maybe it's because I've used this for years, and now this is the first time I've used the Deba. But point is, as usual, I hope you enjoyed this content. I know you guys out there love the head-to-heads, so if you have any suggestions on another knife, or knives clearly, that you'd like to see head-to-head, then let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for your support, and until next time.